Hey, how's it going everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon GO video. I hope your week is starting off really good, and let's get right into it. Alright, so for today's video, let's talk about everything that's happening in Pokemon GO starting November 18th until the 24th. And this week is going to be a major week because we're going to have the first ever global wild area event. And this event is going to be in the same vein as the GO Tour event and the GO Fest event, which we had earlier this year. And I really do think this is one event you will not want to miss out on. I'll get more into it later, but also this week we are going to have two major things you will want to pay attention to. The first of which is the Into the Wild event. And the key thing with this event, it's going to feature the debut of a brand new Pokemon, but unfortunately you can only get that Pokemon from hatching 10-kilometer eggs. So you will want to hatch as many eggs as you possibly can during this week because you will not want to miss out on this brand new Pokemon. And another thing this week is going to be the raiding content. It's going to be really good compared to other weeks, and the reason for that is because Niantic wants to build up the momentum to this weekend when we get the wild area event. So during this week, we're going to have both Origin Form Dialga and Origin Form Palkia in raid battles, and then on top of that, we're going to be getting a raid hour featuring a different legendary Pokemon every single night this week, and each and every single one of those legendaries are actually really good. First and foremost, this Tuesday, we're going to have Nihilego spawning in raids from 6 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. local time. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have Tapu Koko. And then on Thursday, we're going to have Origin Form Dialga. And then finally on Friday, we're going to have Origin Form Palkia. These are going to be some pretty solid raid hours, so if you have a whole bunch of raid passes to spare and you're going to be available during these hours, then you should definitely go out and do as many raids as you can because all of these Pokemon are actually pretty good. Now another thing that's going to be happening this week is going to be a pretty solid Spotlight Hour. On Tuesday, coinciding with that Nihilego raid hour, we're going to have Teddy Ursa spawning as the Spotlight, and we're also going to be getting a double Stardust bonus for when you catch Pokemon. Now you're going to have to pick and choose what you're going to want to do. You can either do a whole bunch of Nihilego raids, or you could focus in on catching as many Pokemon as possible. Now if you happen to have a Pokemon GO++, you could maybe put that device to work and do both at the same time, but I really do suggest you do not skip out on this Spotlight Hour because double Stardust bonus Spotlight Hours are very far and few between, but they're extremely good. Next up, let's switch gears and talk about PvP, because during this week we're going to have the Open Master League as well as the Retro Cup, and just so you know, we're going to be coming to the end of this season really soon here. So if you're still looking to get higher ranks by the end of the season, then you will want to fully utilize this week of PvP battles so that you could achieve some of those higher ranks and get a much higher Stardust reward at the end of the season. And also happening this week, actually tonight, is going to be Max Monday featuring Drillbur. Now if you did not get yourself a good Drillbur over this past weekend during the Simply Groundbreaking event, you should definitely try to get one tonight because a really good Dynamax Drillbur is going to be very important for this weekend's Wild Area event, considering that one of the major features is going to be max battles featuring Toxtricity. And Excadrill is actually a very hard counter against Toxtricity, so you will want to be best prepared for this weekend's festivities by having yourself a really good Excadrill ready to go. At the very least, you should have at least one Dynamax Excadrill for this weekend, but I suggest you try to get at least 3 of them. That way you're going to be best prepared for those Toxtricity max battles, and make sure you power up those Excadrills and try to max out some of their max moves as well. Alright, now let's talk about the Wild Area event, which is going to be happening this weekend, and like I said before, it's going to be a major in-game event, very similar to Pokemon Go Fest and Pokemon Go Tour. And if you ever did any of those events, you would know that these major in-game events are usually the best ways to get some of the best Pokemon as well as some of the rarest shinies. And it looks like it's going to follow suit this weekend. In case you did not know, the major thing with this Wild Area event is going to be the mighty Pokemon that are going to be spawning. The IV floor for these Pokemon are going to be higher than usual. I believe they're set at 12 attack, 12 defense, and 12 health, which means your chances of getting a perfect IV for these mighty Pokemon are going to be astronomically high. And on top of that, they're also going to have a boosted shiny rate, which means your chances of getting yourself a high IV shiny shiny or even a shundo are going to be really good this coming weekend. You absolutely do not want to miss out on that. I think that's going to be the major highlight for this weekend's Wild Area Global event, and I do think that if you still did not buy your ticket for this weekend's event, you should go to the Poke Shop right now and pick it up, because you do not want to miss out on those mighty Pokemon. They're definitely going to be really good, and I do guarantee that for a lot of players, this is going to be the weekend where they're going to pick up their first shundos, or they're going to come out with a whole bunch of high IP shinies. I really do think that for pretty much anyone who plays Pokemon Go, this is a must not miss weekend. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that you will need to pay attention to this week. It's definitely going to be a stacked week of Pokemon Go compared to every other week. And I do think that for this weekend's Wild Area event, it's going to be a complete blast. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal time, and I really do hope it ends up being successful, because I would like to see more Wild Area events happening again in the future. And I do predict that it is going to be quite successful. I think a lot of players have been looking for an event similar to this, and I think Niantic will deliver. And given all the feedback that I've been hearing from the people who attended the Japan live in-person event, I do think this weekend is going to be extremely good. So do not miss out on that. Make sure you set some time apart for this weekend's Wild Area event. I guarantee it's going to be a really good time. And make sure you plan it out as well. Like, go to a highly populated area where you know there's going to be a lot of players and a lot of Pokestops and gyms. And also make sure you stock up on your items this week, because you will need them. You will need to make sure you're fully prepared for this weekend. So yeah, TLDR for this week, you will want to pay attention to the Into the Wild event. It's going to feature a brand new Pokemon, which you can get from 10km eggs. The raiding content is going to be extremely good this week. We are going to be getting the return of Origin Form Dialga and Origin Form Palkia. And then of course there's going to be a raid hour every single night this week. And then of course there's going to be the Wild Area event at the end of this week, which you will not want to miss out on. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below. Is there anything in particular that you are looking forward to, or is there something that you are looking forward to that I completely missed talking about? Make sure you mention what that is down below, and yeah, let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you found it to be informative, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the content of the channel, the absolute best way to do so is always going to be by joining my Patreon. And for all of my paid Patreon members, they get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon Go friends list. So when it comes to stuff like remote raids and the friendship system, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, make sure you go and check out my social media pages, the links to which are in the description below, but you could go to any of the platforms that you see on screen, look up at Count Jinsula, and make sure you give me a follow. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.